Well, you know, when you read Genesis chapter 1, on day 3 of creation, when God raised up the land, and he says he gathered the waters together into one place. So the implication is there the land was in one place. So we believe there was one continent before the flood, and that continent split up at the end of the flood as a result of the flood and the mountain building after the flood, like Psalm 104 indicates. God raised up the mountains, lowered the ocean basins. That's where the water poured into the oceans, where most of it is today from the floods, why you have fossils, marine fossils on the top of Mount Everest and so on. So the geography changed considerably after the flood. It was a whole new world. That's why, you know, when people say to me, where was the Garden of Eden? Over there in the Middle East? The answer is no, because the Middle East area didn't exist before the flood. It was one continent. We have no idea what the Garden of Eden was. And that area today, even though it has a couple of rivers named the same, would say probably because names used in the old world were used in the new world, but the geography doesn't fit. And for instance, you have the description of one river or one source giving rise to 4 rivers there in the Garden of Eden, but that's not what you see over there in the Middle East. And not only that, that area has under it, where the Tigris and Euphrates are today, has under it thousands of feet of sediments with fossils in. So you wouldn't have all that death before sin, death under the Garden of Eden. So none of that makes sense. So everything totally changed. So, you know, I'm an Australian, and I have to admit Australia didn't exist before the flood. So it exists after the flood. So Australia is a post-fall, post-flood continent.